We're rolling. We are
Hey,
rolling.
man.
How you doing? I'm sitting here at an undisclosed location somewhere in Louisiana with my good friend Zak Nolan. How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Welcome to my nightmare.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to my nightmare.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me again. And you were one of the guys, dude. You were one of the main dudes that I had to get you in on a conversation. Your contributions to Ritual Killer and Goatwh set me down a dark path when I was a wee lad.
Whoa. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yes, and
It was quite the era.
yeah, it definitely was. And you have some of the most brutal, intricate, and even just the pounding drums, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And I just really want to know just what set you on the path to, getting into music, metal, extreme metal. So wherever you want to take this conversation is on you.
Yeah, I could start from the beginning. This could be like a therapy session.
Let's go.
I was kind of late getting into metal. So my first memories is like back 78. We can go from like 78 to 72, start there.
Okay, start.
78 to 82, sorry. Where I'm from like 10 minutes away from here, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
My backyard was a cane field. Only child. So I had no like siblings or older kids to get me into cool music. Actually, there was no one around.
Yeah.
It was just, loner. Had no other choice, really. So the first thing that I was obsessed with, horror movies. We had the big old school Zenith television.
Oh, it was just permanent furniture.
Yeah,
in the house.
Absolutely. And I was glued to it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted to do. I was absolutely obsessed at that young age. And every other night it seemed like The Unseen, The Changeling, The Amityville Horror, Salem's Lot, Magic. That was a big one. I like that.
I remember Magic.
Yeah, with
That
the
was such a-
doll. And it
dude.
freaked me the fuck out.
Same.
Cool that you know that one. Friday 13th Part 1 and Part 2, that was about the only ones that were out. And The Children. And there were other movies, but that's all I wanted to do. And I guess some things never change. 81, I went to see The Howling in the theater.
Yeah.
And 82, I went to see Creepshow in the theater. I was like 6 or 7 at that time. Jump to 83 to say 86. You mind if I frame it in this way?
You could do it whatever
Cool.
helps you.
Cool.
I'm good with it.
Let's get effed up.
There you go. He's gonna get effed up. I'm not sponsored by Heineken, but hey, that could change. Just Heineken, you want to reach out? Let's go.
Endorsement. So 83, the mom and pop video stores started to open.
Those are the best.
Oh yeah, so that was a game changer because The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, the list kind of goes on. We didn't have everything because this isn't New York or Chicago.
Right.
It's kind of limited to what it was, but I remember seeing like 2 Italian movies, Zombie and Suspiria.
Yeah.
Was there.
That's
this
and
week.
that's still popular to this day.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck.
they remade it, but you can't touch the original.
I've never seen the remake.
I'll save you.
Yeah, thank you. I try to avoid those. And I thought that was weird. Like, what's up with the dubbing? But now it's a part of the charm
Right.
of it and atmosphere. To this day, I judge a horror film based on its atmosphere. Like, murder and violence, it's cool, but it's secondary.
Right.
It's all about atmosphere, and this could bleed into like black metal, and it goes well together. So at this time, when this is happening, like 84, 85, the other thing that was on TV constantly, I think with everyone, was MTV.
Yep.
So MTV's always on. I'm always watching that. And like I said, I'm late getting into metal, so this comes later. I remember Billy Idol was like one of the first, or maybe the first.
He was a tough looking dude, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the video was like post-apocalyptic to me. There were like these people climbing up a building,
Dancing
with myself.
Dancing with Myself.
Okay, yeah. And they reminded me of the people from Escape from New York, the
Yeah.
sewer people or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
They're climbing up the building. Michael Jackson turned into a werewolf. You had Bark at the Moon,
Yeah.
werewolf. So
You know, it reminds me so much about Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Thriller.
That
Sorry.
what fucked me up as a kid listening to that was Vincent Price's narration. Like that was the creepiest thing,
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like never mind the visuals
Yeah.
of Michael Jackson looking like a damn werewolf and shit. Nah, it was Vincent Price. Like, you know,
Yeah. It added something to it and authenticity to that album to get him to do that because legend, horror legend. So the Bark at the Moon, that it all like kind of scared me too. Do you remember a Duran Duran video called Wild Boys?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had a monster at the end of that, and I was intrigued.
Yeah.
I was intrigued by all of this, and that was a post-apocalyptic type video too.
I was intrigued with Duran Duran for two other their hit singles. The
Great songs.
They were
Great songs.
Rio and fucking
Yep.
and God damn it, Hungry Like a Wolf. Mm-hmm. Because they always had some, they had some fine chicks on his videos. I mean, they just, that's what they had catchy bass lines and hook, but
Absolutely.
but they also had the women, scantily clad dress and all that shit.
Right.
I digress. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. Help me out here. I need a lot of help. So where do we go from there? So the videos, and that was intriguing to me, and I could see the blending into horror. Like everything I mentioned had some freaky thing going on in these videos.
Yeah.
Still not into metal or anything like that, but I'm intrigued by all this shit. And I remember it was one late night as usual. I'm in the living room waiting on the next thing that's coming on HBO, and it's Trick or Treat.
Oh
I
yeah.
had never heard of it before. And this movie, it's not one of the best movies ever, horror movies,
Nah.
but it spoke to me,
Yeah.
And it's about this loner kid that resurrects a satanic rocker by playing one of his albums backwards. Yeah, and at the time,
And Ozzy was the preacher.
fuck yeah. and then Simmons was in it, Gene
Yeah.
Simmons, so they had rockers in the movie. And this movie spoke to me, and you got to remember at this time, it was the Satanic Panic era.
Yep.
And they had all these specials like Geraldo and like the dangers
And the
of
Sally Jesse Raphael's the
yeah,
world.
yeah, the dangers of rock music, heavy metal music. This time that this was going on, I'm seeing two more Ozzy videos, and that was Shot in the Dark and The Ultimate Sin.
I love
And-
that album, man.
I think that was it. I'm like, I like hard rock. I called it hard rock at the time for some reason.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Like seeing those videos is kind of like a turning point. Like I'm getting into metal now.
Yeah.
So the Geraldo special too, it had King Diamond in it. And
I remember that shit.
Yeah, and Wasp. There was like kind of a narration through the King Diamond footage, so you couldn't really even hear what it was. For all I knew, it was like a death thrash, whatever. Little did I know, but we'll get to that later. Where am I going with this? So, yeah. So I'm like, I'm getting into metal now. So there was this thing in magazines back then where you could send off for 12 tapes for a penny.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that, man.
Yeah, so I did it. It's a penny.
Yeah.
And I got like 3 Ozzies, 3 Anthraxes, 3 Megadeths, and 3 Metallicas, something like that.
You covered all your thrash bases.
Yeah, it's like right away. So I'm digging all of it. Had no one really showing me this or like, this is cool, get into metal. Older cousin or any. I had an older cousin, but he brought in the first wave of rock, which was kind of exciting, back then.
Yeah.
And some punk things too. Like he had a Minor Threat tape, and I'm like, what is this? This is like the most underground thing. Who puts this shit out? I guess the first Minor Threat.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like the one of the first albums they did on Discord, Ian McKay's label at the time.
That's still a really good album.
It
too.
really is. It's, one of those unmistakable albums that just makes you fucking want to do something violent.
Fuck yeah. There's like sporadic punk bands that I like through the years, but mainly metal. So yeah, that happened. Oh yeah. So just a couple of months after that, there's this mall about 20 minutes from here, the Southland Mall.
Yeah.
And this place called, I think it was called the Record Bar.
Yeah.
So right away I went in and it's like, I'm looking for metal. And the place was cool. The place, it had like good shit in there.
They really did. I remember this mall. I used to
Okay.
I used to frequent it with my cousins because
Nice.
I don't know if you knew this, but I'm actually from my family's from Dulac.
Nope.
Yeah, my family's from Dulac.
Cool.
And all my older cousins, we would leave my grandma's house and travel up here. And I think at one point that record store turned into something called like Sessions or something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name exactly,
Yeah.
but
Was it the Record Bar? Way back?
it could have been.
Yeah,
It
okay.
could have been. No, they had good shit though.
Okay. So I get 3 tapes, 3 cassettes. And I had cassettes all the way up to 1995. So I'm late in even getting CDs. Scream, Bloody Gore, Death, Darkness Descends, Dark Angel,
Dark Angel.
and fucking Hell Awaits.
Fucking A, man.
So I'm starting out good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
how old are
digging
you
it.
at this point?
This is 88.
Okay.
So how old was
I mean, I was 8.
11, 12.
Yeah.
13.
You're not that much older than me, so I mean, I'm 8.
Uh-huh.
You're probably 13 at this point.
Right. Right around this time, I had a friend at school. He was into Metallica. That was his favorite band. And he said, so I'm like 13, 12-ish. And he's like, I'm going to start taking guitar lessons. It's like, I'm going to start playing drums and we're going to make a band.
Hell yes.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take any lessons.
Did you not?
No, and no covers. I never learned a cover in my life except the Into the Crypto Race on Funeral Dirge.
Yeah.
That was the only thing, and I think that's fucked up. Like, was I lazy?
I don't think. Okay.
I sucked. I was really rusty for years.
That's fine though, because you were finding your footing. You were finding your own way because if you're lazy, then I'm lazy too. Because I had taken lessons from a friend of mine, and he taught me a lot of theory, a lot of technique, and a lot of rudimentary practicing techniques and whatnot. And I would learn riffs that I thought I still do to this day. Like I like learning riffs that really I want to learn that. I want to tackle that shit and make it something and kind of just make it my own. But as far as like full songs, probably the only full song I've learned was maybe like a couple of Dark Throne songs. Because like the riffs repeat and there's like some melody and harmony here and there. But
right.
Yeah. But anyway, you didn't take.
No. And I find it maybe a little interesting that the whole idea wasn't to be into drums or anything, is to be in a band. I thought that would be cool. It wasn't that I had a passion for drums. To this day, I think I'm okay. Still a little rusty. It takes work.
Yeah. Like all things.
But I think there was some kind of like maybe a foundation that wasn't there, that I was always a little shaky because I never learned any cover songs. I think Zach Simmons, he grew up the new drummer of newer. He's been in the band for 20 years. Yeah, he's like one of my favorite modern drummers. But I could tell that foundation was there, and I know he learned other songs, Ozzy and Metallica and things like that. And I think that might be a better thing for a musician to do.
He had posted a video on social media when he was younger, and I had no idea, but I guess I should have assumed that he was in marching band. He was in band in high school and whatnot. So, yeah, he came out of the gate swinging, with a good foundation, and then and just adding to his repertoire of like covers and whatnot. And
He's a great drummer.
As you do.
Yeah. Such a huge metal fan, rock fan. When I first met him, we bonded over like rock, opposed to like metal.
Yeah.
We love metal, but I remember us talking about how like the first Skid Row is a really good album.
100% it is.
I really like the first Dangerous Toys too.
I didn't get into that.
Okay,
Yeah.
The
But
first
I'm not
one's really
knocking you
good.
for liking it.
Yeah. So where am I going with this? Where was I?
You're in a band with your friend. Who's
Okay,
playing guitar.
thank you.
Yes, of course.
I'm getting old.
I'm right behind you.
So you know what? Too, my friend there, his parents took us to see Metallica, 1989, and Justice for All tour.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was like explosion. Those bands like Megadeth and Anthrax and Metallica. I'm not so much into that now, but back then, it was great, and it made me think like, I don't know, this is what I want to do. Such a good show. We were way to the back, and I know there's this thing like Lars sucks as a drummer and stuff like that. But what I noticed in that show is he's just he performs to the crowd. At least back then. I mean, when I saw him, it looked like he was looking at me, and I was like 10 miles away from him. At one point, he stood up and like. I was like, whoa, this guy's a rock star. So that was mind blowing. My friend just gets out of metal from out of nowhere, but then I meet Jared Benoit. I think you know.
Oh, I
what I'm
love
talking
Jared.
about.
Love
The
Jared.
first singer
Yeah.
of Goatwh. I remember meet him. So he takes me to his house and actually shows me King Diamond, and it was Conspiracy. The first thing I
shit.
heard was Conspiracy, and he kind of performed it for me.
I could visualize it.
Yeah. And Grim Reaper, Rocket Hill. Those are the two that day.
Uh-huh.
And from there we're like, let's look for a guitar player. We were obsessed with finding a guitar player and starting. Well, I'm kind of hopping over something. 1990, a friend brought over a tape that had Sepultura, Beneath the Remains, the first Deicide, and Napalm Death, Harmony Corruption.
Yeah.
And that was big.
Yeah, I mean, that explains everything with your own drumming style. I mean,
Yeah. So we're looking around, guitar players, just dipshits. And we were kind of delusional because we're from this town.
Yeah.
And we're looking for people to play, something inspired by Deicide.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a tall order.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. We had guitar players actually like sit us down and like, why are you trying to do this? You're never going to go anywhere with this. And I guess it was because we would try to get these people into that type of music and explain to them, this is what death metal is.
Right.
One of these guitar players, make a long story short, said, hey, I know this guy. This is 1991 now, the golden age of death metal.
Yeah.
So much was coming out. I loved Carcass, Entomb, Dismember, the second Pestilence album. What was that? Consuming Impulse.
Consuming Impulse.
Yeah, those are still my favorite death metal albums. It's the golden age of death metal. And one of our guitar player friends or whatever is like, well, I don't want to do this, but I know this guy. His name's Sammy. You might want to get in touch with him. And we're like, I don't know. Okay. And I'll never forget walking up to his apartment and meeting him. He opened the door, this crazy little guy with a mohawk. And it was long dreads. And I don't know, it was instantly, he's like, yeah, death metal, I'm into it. And he starts naming off bands. We start naming off bands like, I've never met anyone like you.
Right.
And he's like, I'm in this other band, but yeah, we can jam. So somehow, Sammy, I had this room at my mom's house, and it was soundproofed. I had my drums in it. And Sammy saw that. He's like, I'm bringing my guitar equipment. And let's just jam, whatever. And somehow, like Jared, I had another little band with him, and he kind of lost interest. The band went away. But me and Sammy stuck together.
Yeah.
And he kept coming by. And we started... I guess like this music that we were playing, like we didn't give a fuck. Somehow it sounded like Napalm Death Peel Sessions meets G.G. Allen. And that was
that's quite the combo.
I know, and I say this because Sammy, what I noticed with him too is he's such a go-getter. He's like, oh, and we're gonna play live. We're gonna play this stuff live. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This shit. We're just having fun, I remember we were just chilling out, smoking weed, jamming, and eating Pop-Tarts. That's my memory of what we were actually doing.
What kind of Pop-Tarts? What flavor?
I think it was like the strawberry.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
With the icing? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sprinkles?
Yes. Yeah, it was the sprinkles.
Yeah.
So we would go out and play these live shows, and it seemed to be like this is where the Gigi Allen thing comes in too. It seems like that was an excuse for Sammy to insult the crowd. And it was so funny. There were some videos floating around. It is the most hilarious thing ever because we're playing to 20 people, 15 people with all these bands that wanted to sound like Korn or something like that.
That's terrible.
It was Korn out then. But just
what year is this?
92, 91.
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
But
I'd say
bands that had no clue when we got on. What the fuck? But we would do that. Sammy would insult the crowd, and we were just having fun with that. And the whole time that we were doing this, Sam, I'd be like, Sammy, this band that you're in, what is it like? And his answer would always be the same. I don't know. I'm like, dude, you know how you put things into categories? Is it power metal? Is it doom? Is it black? Is it thrash? Is it death?
Right.
And then I'd ask him again a month later. It's like, what is acid bath? I don't know. When you hear it, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it
does.
truly is. I don't fucking know
because it has elements of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about 4 different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Yeah, check my math here. you got Audie, Sammy, Dax, Jimmy, Kyle, and Mike. Yeah, 5 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and just knowing what I've known throughout conversations with those guys, with the exception of Audie, of course. Every one of them was into different shit.
Audie was really cool.
Yeah, that's all I hear about. And I met his son. I met his son over the past couple years, Audie Jr. And God, if Audie Jr. is anything like his dad, I miss out on a lot.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And
really cool, man.
But yeah, the music for Acid Bat, man, is they drew from so many different influences and inspiration from everywhere. And I just think that you can't put a definitive genre on that shit.
Fuck no. In fact, I remember I was riding in the car passenger seat with him. We were driving somewhere. We would always be driving somewhere. And he's like, hey, I got something. And he puts in, I guess it's the first Acid Bath demo. Yeah. Didn't they do 2? I only thought there was 1.
I think there is 2.
Okay. It's still to this day, but he puts it on. He puts it on the tape deck. We had tape decks for our cassettes back.
Of course.
And I remember sitting there, blown the fuck away. I was like, who am I sitting in a car with? This dude, this shit is fucking awesome. And I could kind of see, like, you can't describe it. So anyway, time goes on. He was sort of the death and black metal guy. Yeah, they were different characters in Acid Bath, and they all had different musical tastes.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why Sammy and I bonded.
Yeah.
So we were looking at this thing, and remember the good old days, catalogs, order off, whatever you want, physical media, albums, in my case, cassettes, and I said, look at this, man. This looks like the most underground fucking thing. Like, where did this come from? He goes, yeah. This looks fucking awesome. And it was Beherit, The Oath of Black Blood.
Yeah.
And I ordered it. And
you got it with you?
Here it is.
Look at that relic.
Yep. That's the one. I figured that'd be kind of interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, that's the only tape I kept because I'm not a hoarder. Anytime, like with the VHS of horror, when DVDs came out, get rid of that. When Blu-ray came out, get rid of that. But that's the one.
Probably get some real good money on eBay.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it, man, because this is the thing that Sammy and I love.
Right.
And when we first heard it, we didn't know what to think. And it was like, let's sleep on this, And he called me the next day. He's like, dude, I couldn't go to sleep. I was laying there thinking about it. And yeah, so I guess we started going kind of with this little band we were in, Kilgore, and into that. And I guess to jump to 1993, he had gotten Drawing Down the Moon and Vengeance, War Till Death, Bestial Warlust.
Yeah.
And the Bestial Warlust is the thing that influenced me the most, or made me want to do Ritual Killer.
Yeah.
See, that idea went back way
Let's back up to Kilgore.
Okay.
So tell me, like, how did Kilgore, like, was it just basically you and Sammy from the previous band, or was Kilgore the band where he was, like, mouthing off to the crowd?
Kilgore was when he was mouthing off to the crowd.
Okay.
It was fucking hilarious. There was that rebellious spirit that we had. And he's like, we know none of you people like this. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many shows did Jared play with Kilgore?
It was just me and Sammy. Like I'm saying, my
Okay.
memory's kind of rusty, but
Yeah.
Jared, it was more like Sammy would come by my house and we would do that. And Jared, he comes in and out of the picture.
I
Like
got you.
he was the first Goatwh singer.
Yeah.
For about
Okay.
a year. That was like in 1997, but it was 93. And 94 comes around, and I guess, yeah, I ordered De Mysterious Dom Satanas. And that was a game changer. Mm-hmm. I was frightened by it. And Sammy also had these videos, compilations, in like 3 hours of Gigi Allen playing live. That's the first time I'm seeing that, and it's so entertaining and
shit.
hilarious. To this day, I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love him with the
Do
jabbers.
you literally love the shit?
You have to bring your raincoat. Bring your raincoat to the shows. Scary, dangerous. I mean, that to me is Satanism. That to me is like black metal. It's like liberating. Just get naked and shit on yourself.
Yeah.
Roll around in it.
It's something very cult about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the rebellious spirit of it. I think that it influenced us, and him insulting the crowd like that was just funny to us.
Yeah.
So that was really the game changer. And honestly, it was a little difficult. There was more stuff like Morduk with Legion in the band, and like I liked other things, Nemesis Divina, things like that. But I'm jumping ahead.
What was that's the first Goatwh rehearsal that you can remember? Like,
Okay.
what was that like?
Okay, in 1995, I left for Florida because 3 people come knocking on my door. And it was these 2 dudes and Pat Bruders. And they wanted me to go off and start a band with them in Florida. And I actually did that because I figured Sammy's an acid band. He has his real band. He's always busy with that. So I was going to do that. This is 1995.
Yeah.
So 1996, that whole year, I lived in Florida and came back in 1997. But I called him from Florida. I said, this thing ain't working out. How about we start a band and like take it seriously this time? And he goes, yep. And he's a dude that, like, I talk to a lot of musicians that, you want to start a band and you have endless conversations about, like, what you're going to do, what we're going to do. Sammy's more of a guy, like, if he just says, yep, that's all, he's a go-getter.
Yeah.
He takes action more
Yeah.
than, and
Yeah.
that was the first time I experienced that. So I came back to Louisiana, and he's living in this house with this guy named Milkman. His name was Clint, but everyone called him Milkman. And I moved in there for a while with them, and he had this pool house. It's like nice, cozy, air-conditioned, nice place. And that's where it pretty much all started. Actually, I took a vacation from Florida to Louisiana once, and we wrote a few songs. Invert the Virgin, Desolate Path to Apocalyptic Ruin, maybe Perversions of the Ancient Goat. It's just real quick. Sammy and I had kind of this telepathic thing
Yeah.
where we knew we had this shorthand,
Yeah, because
where
back in those
we don't
days-
need to say too much.
Because back in those days, there was no file sharing over the internet. Like, hey, look, I wrote this.
True.
And, you know, just
Yeah,
lay down
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I miss those days. You felt it, and we had that telepathic thing. We knew what to do, and it was just like that. Mm-hmm. So, and Jared was the singer, and we had a guitar player, no bass player, and we started doing shows. In
Yep.
that was 1997.
okay.
Jared got uninterested. You know, he wanted to kind of start a family and, you know, do the right thing.
Right.
And we just went along. I feel like these are old stories. Like Sammy got his jaw broken. Ben Falgu came into the picture to help out.
So, so what's the lore behind that? I mean, like, did Sammy, like, mouth off to the wrong person?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he was hanging out with a dude that was from another band. Where was it? Lafayette?
Okay.
I don't remember. And they were at some bar, and they both got jumped. And Sammy got his jaw broken.
Yeah.
And so he's just wired shut. And we needed help with a show that we had booked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we asked our friend Ben to help out. And I remember I was kind of freaked out. I was like, whoa, this guy's a rocker.
Yeah.
You know, we have like someone up there in charge. And I'm kind of skipping over like going to Zeppelins and things like that for the first time. And
Talk
seeing,
about it.
And, yeah, and
This is your episode.
well, both of ours. And like walking in and being introduced to that scene.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of skip over that. I remember, if you remember Zeppelins.
Dude, like, I was actually too young for Zeppelins, but
Okay.
I would hear about it, you know, from all you older guys. Mm-hmm. And I mean, guys that were actually closer to, because I mean, I'm still in, you know, the New Iberia Lafayette area, you know, and so 97, I mean, I didn't have my priorities figured out as far as music was concerned. Let's just keep it at that.
Right.
But I was always into metal, but I was still in high school at the time,
Right,
and like,
right,
you know,
right.
just high school student traveling to New Orleans. I'd have to make a weekend out of it, and I just didn't have the money for it, so I had to really pick and choose, you know, what shows to go to, and but yeah, I mean, I've always like Zeppelins, the mystique about it, whoever played there, you know, I would hear all the fucking stories about it, and God knows I want to be there.
Yeah, it was kind of like the CBGBs of Metairie.
Yeah,
New,
pretty much.
Louisiana,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You go in, and it's just like such a weird setup because the first thing you see is the side of the stage right when you walk in, and it's Soylent Green. And I remember being like kind of like intrigued by that, you know, and I looked and I'm like, hey, that dude's naked. And it's Donovan Punch. He's
Right.
just fucking butt naked playing, and I just thought that was wild. So yeah, we got Ben, and we were in this pool house the whole time practicing for the demo. Mm-hmm. The demo in 1998. You remember the title, Serenades?
Oh, yeah.
Tides of Blood. That was kind of rough sounding. We get kicked out of this pool house or left or whatever, and went straight to this like tire shop towards Raceland.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it was, and it was more like a shed that you could turn the AC on, but it didn't work, and it was like 105 asshole degrees every time we practiced. Like, we left drenched from head to toe. And that year that we were practicing like that, we were just bloodthirsty,
Yeah.
you know, at that point. That's what led up to, where is it? Show and tell.
There we go. Another, I mean, it's a masterpiece, man. I mean, it's the reason
Thank you.
why, you know, the guys from Hell's Heroes wanted the band to, you know, play that set.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's such a monumental album for not just the Louisiana extreme metal, but, you know, extreme black metal at large, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah. And in the Goatwh discography, it kind of stands out. I'm not saying it's better or worse or anything like that. It's just something special about it.
It really is.
Yeah. And I worked really hard at meticulously working out the the drum parts and things like that, and it was very important to me. I had a rinky-dink drum set, I could tell you that. Like,
Was it yours, your personal one, or?
Yeah, okay. It was something like, some of it came from like my parents bought some of it. I found the snare somewhere in the corner of a room. Someone was like, "You want this thing?" It was like a lower line Ludwig snare. Fucking sucked. And Sammy turned up his guitar so loud at every rehearsal, and he's just a total rager when it comes to that kind of thing. So I remember like tuning the snare so tightly with a pair of pliers to try to get it to cut through his guitar sound. Right. And that's why the snare sounds so weird on this album, but I kind of like it, you know. Yeah.
So what was touring like in those days, man?
Okay, so I'll put it to you this way. We did this album, and the first thing we did, because we play a lot of one-off shows, weekend shows, Louisiana, and all the surrounding states.
Yeah.
A lot. And the first thing that we did that I thought was very significant was the Milwaukee Metal Fest. And that was a big thing. Like, I'd always heard about it, and it was like this legendary fest, and so
you still see the flyers circulate from like the heyday whenever, you know, Death and Asabat was on the same fucking bill.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I was so excited back then. And we went all the way, had the long drive. I'm like, this better be good. I'm so nervous about these things, and I want to do well. And I was like that throughout all of Goatwh. Like, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well. I think the entire time I was in Goatwh, I might have had like 5 bad shows for whatever reason. And so we played this Milwaukee Metal Fest, and we were kind of like, especially in the demo or whatever, we were treated like dog shit. No one cared about us, you know? Yeah. Like, oh, what's this band? When we get to Milwaukee Metal Fest, there was like a buzz about us. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool, you know? I didn't expect this. I remember the band that played before us, no one was in the room. Mm-hmm. I'm like, cool, let's just get this over with. No one's here. So I'm setting up the drums. It's like some other drum set that I had to play on. And I'm like really focusing in on setting everything up. And I look up, and the entire room is full of people. And it was a big room.
Yeah.
Like, so the buzz was real about Goatwh. And that, I think that was like the first spark of this band might be something.
Yeah.
So we did that, and it was just such a good time. And we stayed there the next 2 days and saw a bunch of bands. The first tour we did was with Mortician. So I did this album, 3 tours. I did Funeral Dirge, 3 more tours, and then I quit. The first 3 tours that I did were a blast. Mortician, the second one was with Immolation, and I think we did another tour with Immolation after that.
I mean, you just rattled off 2 of like, you know, pioneering bands in death metal, dude. I mean,
and it was a weird time because the early 2000s, shit got bigger since then. You know, you'd have 20 people show up to Mortician and like Immolation. Sometimes one person was there. I'll remember shows like that. Immolation called them funnels. This is another funnel show. Mm-hmm. That was their word they used, you know. But I was having a blast, you know. I've noticed through the years, I've kind of lived under a rock for the last 20 years, but from what I understand, it got a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Now, you know, packed shows for Immolation and Mortician. But so honored to play with those legends. You know, I was really having fun. We were doing what we want. We were bloodthirsty at the time. Funeral Dirge kind of changed for me. I started, you know, touring started to get more stressful for me. Because I'm an introverted person. I went into that band introverted and came out like 50 times worse. Right. Just by observing. I observe a lot, and I see the drama, and I just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was the Funeral Dirge? You were part of that recording. Who was all the players as far as, I mean, aside from Sammy, Ben, yourself, who was also
that was it. The 4 of us.
And Pat?
Yeah. We had another guitar player on Eclipse, Ben Stout.
Right.
And then he left. He actually left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So the second, you said you had you had some serious fun touring with Immolation and Mortician on the second touring cycle. What was that like? If you just divulge a little bit.
Well, Ben was in another band that you might have heard of, and Soul and Green.
Yeah.
And they had gotten into a couple of bad accidents in the van.
That's true.
And to be honest with you, after that happened, and I love Ben. It was interesting watching him maintaining order from chaos, because we were all dysfunctional in our own way, but he kept everything together. He did everything. Yeah. So they had their accident. They had an accident, and then they had another one, and Ben got fucked up.
Yeah, he did.
Right. And it was sad watching him in the hospital. I went and visited him in the hospital. And he's such a tough, fucking mentally and physically tough dude that they were like, "You ready for physical therapy?" And he's like, "Well, I already did it myself."
Right. Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, man, after that, I started to get pretty claustrophobic in the van. I demanded the back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was back there. Just anytime the van kind of veered off the road a little bit, I'm like, huh? We'd all sit up and like, "Oh, you okay?"
Yeah.
Because Ben would be the only one driving. He did everything. He's a warrior. He did merch. He drove. He'd play the show. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and
Fucking
repeat.
vehicle maintenance.
Yeah, all of it, dude.
Art layouts.
Dude, lay down the law, man.
He's a fucking machine, man.
He is. I love that guy. Who doesn't?
Yeah. I'd be hard pressed to meet anyone who doesn't have an appreciation for Ben Foster.
You got to be an asshole.
You got to be one
That
grade
shows-
A asshole to not
shows-
like Ben.
Yeah, that shows a lot about your personality.
And what's
If
funny,
you don't like Ben.
And what's funny is that my wife, she meets him a few years back, and I show her old clips of whenever y'all are playing. Whenever you were still with the band, from some archive YouTube videos, and like he's just going off how he does, and she's
my
like,
God.
she's like, "That's not the same person." I was like, "It's the same person, but this is him performing."
He has the grip. He has the audience in the palm of his hand.
Yeah,
So awesome. Natural born performer.
100%.
For sure, yeah. And so into it. Vast knowledge of all and anything music.
And just about anything else that you might have an interest in, like history, geography, God knows what else he's into.
Yeah. And like also the ups and downs of living with 4 or 5 other people in a van. I don't like people that much. Yeah, I mean,
I consider myself real privileged to be here.
Yeah. I would challenge anyone to try that for 2 or 3 weeks. Right. Actually, I always thought that lasted a month. I would be fine if it was 2 weeks. Something about that time is I want to go home.
Yeah.
So
especially if it's like in the summertime.
Yeah.
It's a hot van. Maybe the AC is not pushing all the way to the back.
Yeah. And Ben was such a big brother to us complaining in the back when he did everything and actually slept in the driver's seat,
right,
sitting up. We were like, "It's hot back here, AC," that kind of thing.
So, what kind of things are keeping your, I know you've already mentioned it that you're introverted, kind of a Louisiana misanthropic person.
Fuck yeah.
So what are you doing, on the daily to just kind of keep keep yourself on an even keel? Like what I guess my question is like what keeps you interested in things in life?
It's weird with me. I guess I'm kind of watching the clock, waiting to die. But I'm not into anything other than like horror and rock music from Finland and metal. I'm not into sports, video games, religion, politics, cars, boats, motorcycles, hunting. You get it. I'm not into anything, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I find this world to be kind of boring outside. I stay in a lot. It's summer in Louisiana. The summers here are like not inspiring at all.
No, it's not.
It's
We
so
got just more-
disgusting. I
we
don't go
got-
outside anyway.
Yeah, we got more hot days ahead. I got friends from Norway that say that they want to visit, and they want to visit in August whenever that's their holiday. And I'm like, I beg y'all not to come in August
Don't do it.
because it is fucking hell on earth
Yeah.
as far as the heat's concerned, anyway. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
and then you got to deal with the fucking dinosaurs that live in the goddamn swamps and shit. You know.
So true. So true. And bugs come out.
Oh,
and they
man.
all want me for some reason.
Yeah, same.
Like Jared, he likes to go outside and like do yard work and shit, and the bugs don't fuck with him. He's
And-
like Tarzan. He has the tan. They just come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Ritual Killer.
Fuck yeah.
So let's talk about Ritual Killer. I
Fuck
mean,
yeah.
I know that's another project that you and Sammy,
James Harvey, rest in peace.
James Harvey, rest in peace, and Jordan Barlow, famous tattoo artist and artist extraordinaire. One of my friends, your friends.
Hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I just saw
You said,
him
yeah.
like 2 weeks ago tattooing a guy, and the guy was getting some serious art, but it was also some serious pain. It was a great time. So how did Ritual Killer start?
That started like I don't think many people know this, but it kind of started even before Goatwh, like the idea of it. And
Oh,
I'll
wow.
tell you, like, it's been said that the inspiration was blasphemy or behavior, and it was, but mainly that vengeance, war till death, bestial warlust. Something spoke to me on out of that album, and I'm like, let's do something like this. This is vicious, Australian black metal in general.
Yeah.
They went on to do Abominator.
Yeah.
With Damnation's Prophecy and Subversives for Lucifer.
Yeah.
And I still think that hasn't been topped. Go back and listen.
Yeah.
To-
Have you speaking of Australian black metal, have you ever gotten into Destroyer 666? Okay.
Unchain the Wolves.
Yes. 100%.
So cool.
Yeah,
so
it
cool.
is.
So yeah, I when I knew I was I wanted to be very transparent about quitting. I told them on the last tour I was doing that because I didn't want to fuck over that band. And like we're saying, I love Ben, I love Sammy, and like this is what I want to do. So to get it in place, I knew we were getting signed to Metal Blade, and I knew we had gotten invited to Japan, and I did not want to spend one more day around, I guess, people and
Right.
different things that were going on.
So Ritual Killer though,
So yeah.
y'all, it the sessions predate some of the stuff y'all did with Goatwh. Like,
Yeah, the idea was always there. But when I said, like, okay, Sammy, so I'm quitting, but I still want to do this, like, scary, evil, black metal band. So let's do that. And he's like, sure. So we just did it.
Who came up with the name?
Me.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I had a feeling you started that.
Let
with
the
that name.
ritual begin.
And so how did y'all get everyone involved as far as the musicians that's not named Sammy and yourself?
For a second, Kelly Petrie. Kelly. Yeah, that's his last name. Audie Pete.
Oh, yeah.
Audie's brother
Audie's brother.
was in it, and he quit.
Okay.
So we needed a bass player. Jordan was always a part of it. I asked him from the beginning, like the last show that we did. So I quit the band on that tour, but we were booked to do another show at Zeppelin's, and so I did that. I remember Jordan was there, and we were talking about doing Ritual Killer. So we just started doing that, and I think, where did James Harvey come from? He ended up being one of my best friends, so
Yeah.
it's really sad that
Yeah.
what happened to him. Actually,
And what's really, I know it's incredibly sad what happened to James.
Mm.
And what kills me is that y'all had a lifetime with the dude. I met James just one fucking time. Just
but I bet it was a good meeting.
it was a great time.
A dangerous meeting.
He it's whenever Ben flew me in to go drive for Goatwh and it was in Nashville. Is where I flew into Nashville, and they played the Cobra out there, and we all as a band we all stayed at James's house. You know, and the first time I meet James, I get to crash at his house, talk to him, met Rob Barrett of Cannibal Corpse.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was so fucking surreal.
What a night.
Yeah, it was a night, man. It was a night, and then it wasn't long after that is whenever Ben sent me a text. He's like, James, we lost James. I was
Yeah,
like, what
Sammy called me up, and I'm like, I don't even know what to think right now.
Yeah.
You just told me that. What, like, died in his sleep?
Yeah, like what a bombshell that fucking was.
He was 17, and I was like 31 when I met him.
Yeah.
But he ended up being kind of like a big brother to me at the end of it. So this is around the era of 2006 to like 2000, that era from 2006 to like 2011. James and I were bastards on the streets of New Orleans. That was like an era of fucking darkness.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, nothing good could come from that. Probably more bad nights than good. But
I mean, I don't doubt that he was getting into bars at 17.
Oh yeah,
because he's always had the height.
Yep.
You know, he looked like a fucking grown ass man at 17.
He talked like this.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Oh my god, the best stories I heard about you know y'all in the van on tour together, and he was like, God damn it.
I mean, he was a good dude. I don't have many friends at all. And even when he moved away to California and then Tennessee, we would call, either he would call me or I would call him like once every 2 months, and we talk for hours. And that just never happens. Usually like texts, you know, the people that you know, but that's the sign of a really good dude, and I miss him. And plus, like, he was such a good fucking bass player.
Yes.
Like, listen to Vengeful Ascension.
Yeah.
His bass lines made a good album better. And I never noticed bass lines other than maybe Merciful Fate. What was his name? Timmy Hansen?
Something like that, yeah.
And so, like, it stood out, his bass playing. He was a natural-born rocker.
Yeah, absolutely. And just with a fucking heart of gold, too, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I mean,
he stayed friends with me. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, you know, and he met me one time, but he knew, like, you know, what kind of person I was from jump off. Like he offered me a beer, and I was like, I don't drink. And he was like, oh, well, you want some cocaine? and I was like, no. He's like, it's probably best you don't take that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
He was one of those dudes.
Yeah.
And but it just goes to show you, man, just how cool of a guy he was.
God,
man, I just wish I had more memories with the dude.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I mean. And,
there's no justice in this world for him to be taken like that. So yeah, I'm glad you met him at least once.
Yeah, he's at a beautiful he has a beautiful family.
Yeah, let's dedicate this entire interview to him.
I already planned on it.
Okay,
I already planned on it.
Oh, nice,
yeah,
nice.
I was way ahead of you on that.
And Lorena and James Jr. and Oliver, his family.
Yeah,
it's really sad.
And what, yeah, I think that was the first time I met you though at his. Now I think about it, because the show came after. Because I met you there, and then and it was just a great, you know, moment. Memorial service for James.
Oh yeah,
in Florida.
Yeah, that's the first time we met.
That's the first time we met.
Yeah,
because I remember
that was a fun day.
It was
a
fun day.
Such a fucked up thing to be there for. But
yes,
man, we were like chatting it up.
Yeah, we were. And we talked about we talked about all black metal.
Ben hanging out with us.
Ben hanging out with us.
God love him.
And I remember, you know, y'all was having a good time later on the night. And, and you would like air drumming to old Goatwh that you was involved with, and Simmons was just like, you know, this is my idol, man. He's telling me what he did on funeral dirge and whatever. You know? I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'm shocked by that kind of talk. I'm like, you're fucking great too. I mean, I think my drumming was kind of wonky on funeral dirge.
Can you imagine if you know did take lessons?
Yeah, you know, apply myself in some way.
I'm not sliding you. But I mean, just think of like some of the things that you could have picked up and just like made your shit even more meticulous.
Yeah, I think that's my point. Like the foundation was not there. You know, I always looked at myself as more like Dino from G.G. Allen, just set up, no triggers, just other than the being butt naked.
Yeah. So I have to ask. I mean, do you have anything in the future that you plan on, jamming with anyone, or like maybe possibly getting another project together?
We're talking about doing something, Jared and I, and he has such a great voice for this and I do have ideas of how I would want it to be. When I'm in the black metal zone, it needs to be a certain way for me. And I've been asked through the years to, when I go out, oh, what are you doing? Nothing. You want to start a black metal band? Does the world need another black metal band? I think about that a lot.
My honest take, no.
Right.
No.
The thing that would make me want to do it, and I'm going to do this, I have a name for it. I don't want to say it yet because we're just in talks of doing it, is what the fuck else am I going to do? Just watch horror movies and listen to music. I have a drum set. What else am I going to do? So I think that the purity of where I want it to be, the spirit, the atmosphere of what I would want it to be. I actually would want Sammy to do it, but he's kind of busy these days, isn't he?
He is. He's a little busy.
I'm going to ask him if he wants to do this with us. And it will be more in the vein of if Ritual Killer was like Bestial Warlust, this project would be more like, just to give you a reference, Drawing Down the Moon.
Okay.
More weird.
Yeah.
Like weird and just scary and freaky.
You gonna have Jared do some clean singing on that?
Hell no.
I didn't think so.
Hell fucking no.
Because he's really good at both. Is it?
Yeah, I think he's doing that with his other band, Reptilian.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
he can do anything.
He can.
He's really talented. He could sing whatever. He could sing power metal.
Yep.
Rock, death, black. He can do it all.
This is just my take. I mean, I've always considered Jared kind of that. The like a Louisiana born bred Rob Halford, man, because he could pull that opera like range,
and he can do it.
It's in his back pocket.
Oh yeah, like when I met him, as I said before, he was singing King Diamond to me as it was playing. I'm like, whoa, he's performing it for me too.
Right. That's insane, man.
Yeah. But we want to get it. There's a lot of like evil black metal bands out there, but I want to do something scary. The last thing that scared me was like maybe the first Deicide, Oath of Black Blood, and De Mysterious. After that, I was just sort of over black metal. Like around the time that I quit Goatwh, I noticed there was 1,000 bands that wanted to sound exactly like Burzum. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Just like typewriter drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like a lot of bands. Maybe it's not like that now, but I noticed, and a lot of people are eating it up. I'm like,
I think for what just from an audience perspective, everything that I've seen in Norway specifically, as far as like theatrics, all these festivals they put together these these big shows, and there's pyrotechnics and whatnot, and it's great. But what I have a great affinity for is for like the rawer sounding projects.
That's what we want.
Like your aura noirs, like the black thrash. I am huge into black thrash.
Yeah.
And and things like that. Just like more stripped down, like in your face. And then you got like these like newer bands. I would say newish, like a Whoredom Rife. Like those guys from Norway, man, they are just so fucking like, it's just a punch to your dick.
Text that to me.
I will. That 1349, of course.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
like
they never fucking miss.
No, they do not. I love Frost. Who doesn't?
Yeah, who that dude. I mean,
yeah, I quit. After hearing, was that Demon Noir?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and fucking is it Legion?
Is that
that
1349?
that 1349 put out?
Okay.
But so fucking good. I have a good friend of mine, Thomas. Hope you're watching this. He's in he has two bands, Udad and Morik, and it's Udad is more raw and stripped down, and he's like paying his own brand of primitive black metal,
Nice.
So I see a lot of younger bands, going for it in that respect, because I think they may be tired, like audience members, as much as they love, your Dimmu Borgirs of the world and stuff like that. People are seeing a little too much of that. But teach their own.
Yeah, there's this one Dimmu album that I really like.
Yeah.
It kind of stands out. What is it? Throne, Darkness, Triumphant.
Yeah.
I think that one stands out. I still listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some good shit, man. No way am I putting Dimmu down.
No,
I just know
no.
that as a perspective, like my perspective is that they put a lot of emphasis on the music, but it seems more so with the production of the live performance and whatnot.
True. Yeah, no.
My point is, I want this shit to scare me in person too.
Yeah, man, dude. Yeah, I almost want it to be like, the music should be this lo-fi evil thing as sort of a canvas for the vocals to be on top of, and it has to be scary. The vocals have to shine. I'm not into many newer bands, but there's this band from Finland. They were Black Feast, and now they're Witchcraft. They changed their name to Witchcraft. And on the surface, you might be tempted to think, oh, this is another Beherit ripoff band. But there's something within it that it's like a glorification and devotion to the old school Black Death arts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I would like that for myself.
Yeah.
To do that in some sort of way,
and
where the vocals shine, where the vocals are like, holy fuck, this is like disturbing.
Yeah. I got something to show you too. I'll tell you about it right now. But somebody from Texas put me on to a band from South America. I think they might be from Brazil, called Hell Confessor, but with a K.
Whoa, cool name.
I know, really cool name, and they got some, definitely dark atmosphere. Definitely something I think you should check out. I think you'd be into it. But yeah, man, this has been a really cool fucking chat, dude.
Dude, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed myself.
And I hope to come back and maybe we'll go see some shows together or something like that. I'll get your ass out of your apartment, and
please do. Yeah, I need to get out of the bubble. I really do. I admit that.
Yeah, I'll take you out to Lafayette.
Take me out of my comfort zone. Let's go to Lafayette. I remember that being a fun place. That was a fun place when we played there with Goatwh.
Yeah, and you know what? You can get I don't know how you like dogs.
Yes, I love animals.
I got 4 dogs, man.
Babies.
So, yeah. Zak Nolan, Ritual Killer, Goatwh.
Thank you very much.
Do your research. Check the albums out. And, man, again, thank you, sir.
Thank you.